We're back at it, Dima. How are you doing?
I am doing great. It feels like now we're saying it more and more often that it's been a while. It's been a while. So we skipped last week and now we're back.
It happens when you work with a C student like me. See, that's just kind of the way these things go. I occasionally have to miss class. And I was out of town and then things didn't match up. We had to make a few changes on the fly. And luckily we've been pretty flexible. So, but I still miss you.
I miss you too. I'm excited for our coffee tomorrow. So
I know.
Hopefully you don't have COVID so we can see each other tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
otherwise I'll pass until you're back.
I get it.
Everyone who wants to say hello and stop by will be at Magpie at 9 a.m. So stop by and maybe you'll chit chat a little with us.
That's right. That could be another live show. Just you got to be on site to enjoy.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. So, anything going on since the last time we had to talk? What's happening in your world?
I feel that there's a lot in my world, but when I'm asked this question, my brain freezes.
I get it.
Yeah.
What so about much is going on?
What's going on in your world?
I just got back from a trip. I just got back from Michigan. I did a retreat with the Edward Lowe Foundation and the LED, and it was awesome. I had a great time to reflect and challenge my behaviors, my thinking, and get outside. It was great. It was awesome. They labeled it a retreat about nothing.
Oh, wow. Oh, I need a retreat about nothing.
I highly recommend. If it could be a yearly occurrence, I would sign everybody up for it. I swear. It was awesome.
Wow. I love it. Well, let's get into our guest for today. We have an amazing guest who I've been waiting for a while to invite my wonderful friend. And now I guess she's your wonderful friend, Misty Albrecht. So let's
All right. Misty, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are y'all?
We are good. It is good to see you. Y'all, I didn't get the red memo tonight.
You didn't. It was honestly a last minute thing for me, and just worked out.
It worked out good. It's we'll have to coordinate like we did with the red stick. When we had the red stick promotion with the shirts and everything, we were ready to rocking and rolling. I'll get the memo next time. I'll wear red next week.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your favorite color, Misty? Can I ask you that? Since we're talking about that.
My favorite color is red.
Go figure.
The
interview is starting off flawless. Dima, take it away.
Right.
That is so funny. So, Misty, tell us more about yourself. I'm sure our viewers would love to learn more about you, your journey, your story. So share with us everything you want to tell us.
Lay it on us.
Okay. Well, it may be boring, but we'll go for it. So I am the Vice President and Marketing Director for b1Bank. I've been in advertising communication field for almost 20 years. I have a master's in mass communication from LSU, but my undergrad is from University of Texas. I am a Texas girl. I'm a transplant to Baton Rouge. Moved here in 2006. So I'm part of the community now. It's home. We're getting there. I still don't like crawfish, but I'll get there. So I have a very diverse background, and Rob was like, how do we know each other? Where are we from? So I've worked in many agencies in the area and worked with a lot of clients. I have expertise in experiential marketing, advertising, lead generation, brand development, strategic communication. One of my things that I love more than anything, though, is research. I am a numbers research junkie. I feel like if you can do the research and really get in there and feel the way people think, you learn how to communicate with everybody, because not everybody communicates the same. So understanding those channels and what nuances of words are and all those things, I just love it. And because I am such a research junkie, sometimes I'm always a laggard. Like, I want more information. I want to be more into it. To know it's going to work well and predict things correctly. So that's my career, my background. I'm at the bank. It's been a wonderful opportunity. I call it my dream job or the unicorn of jobs in Baton Rouge. We've had so much growth. When I started, we were 16 banking centers, $1 billion in assets. Less than 4 years later, we're 43 banking centers. We've expanded into Texas and Mississippi. We are 4.4 billion in assets. We have over 600 employees. We launched a new brand. We've just launched a new website. Like all of these things that every marketer wants to be in, a communication specialist wants to be on the ground floor. I've gotten to do it, and it's great and exciting and energizing, and scary at the same time because it's all on you. So that's my career. I've also been married to my high school sweetheart for 24 years this year. And
wow. Congratulations.
Thanks. We have 3 children. So if you hear screams or running around, ages 9, 7, and 5. So you might see a little face pop in or hear somebody screaming because bedtime's coming.
There's odd numbers right now.
Yeah. Yep. That's where we go. Odd numbers are lucky for us anyway.
And they are adorable. I love the Facebook post and the pictures of them.
They have some personality, that is for sure. Yeah, I get accused of being direct very often, and I'm direct. They may be more so, and they get it honestly.
No, you're Misty.
Right, that's true. Great dad joke.
So, Misty, you mentioned earlier that you love research, and I know just in the last couple of years you've done this research about women and money and investments and all of this. So share with us what was the research about? What were the findings? What were you shocked to find based on all of that?
Well, so it started with just some conversations internally, about products and stuff that we're having up with the executive level, and then it got filtered down to my level of, what are we doing for women? We are a community bank and we serve entrepreneurs. We were started as a niche, a business community bank, and serving those growing entrepreneurs and developing businesses and really serving that market. And you want to serve all people, but we noticed that how do we help women, especially women entrepreneurs? They're growing. I mean, Dima's a woman entrepreneur. Look at, she's very successful, but how do you help women get to this level? And how do you support them? So the question was like, are we missing the mark? Is there a product we need to have? Is there a service we should be having? Are women different than men when it comes to business banking? Like all of these questions. So that's how our research started, so we did that. So.
Okay. Tell us more.
How long did it take you to get all that data? When did you identify you needed to start tracking the data for women and to know what the next move was?
Well, just looking at our client base, we notice that we have a lot of men, but that there are a lot of women in the entrepreneur business, and women are the biggest demographic of new entrepreneurs coming up. So it's like, how do we serve that market? And not just from a business standpoint, but from a community standpoint, because when these businesses flourish, then our communities flourish. So it's a two-pronged strategy there, and community is so important for b1Bank. And so that's how we took that. But it took us about 6 months to deploy this research. We actually did focus groups in 3 of our areas of New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and then Dallas, speaking to women entrepreneurs. And we hired a really great research company. As much as I love research, I am not a statistician. I am not a really great leader for focus groups, a moderator. That's the word I was missing. But so we hired a really great company. And what we did was we pulled these women from, bigger companies that own their own business and smaller companies that were just started out. And we put a group of 10 to 12 women in a room and just said, let's talk about your business. Let's talk about banking. Let's talk about, are you happy with your current bank? What's your relationship with a banker? What products and services do you use? What's your growth strategy? All those things to see, is there a product or service that we're missing? And it was very interesting. We all think we're different from different areas, but really we're all the same. You might feel like culturally you're different, but how you talk about products or how you talk about things or how you approach business, it's very similar. It's very interesting. When people want to say we're different, but we're also the same. So very the same.
So you mean as humans, all of us, or are you talking about women in business that we're all the same related to our challenges and how we approach business?
Both. All of my research is like everybody has the same needs or the same wants, the same desires. How we get there is differently, but the core of things are still the same. But women in business, at least in our footprint, had a lot of the same issues, had a lot of the same goals, and had a lot of just the same approach to things, the same way to handle business, which I felt was very unique. So we had women that were very educated. Some had multiple degrees or PhDs, and some women were just, sweat equity in it. And they all had a lot of similarities, which makes for a really interesting group.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you want to know what we found out?
Yeah.
We do. Got you sitting on your seat. So the thing that was interesting and a little background that we went into it was we did some secondary marketing and or secondary research, I would say. And so it's interesting because women don't talk about money. It's either a confidence issue or Fidelity had a great research piece that they did, and women have confidence issues talking about money, investments, business, things like that. 80% of women just aren't comfortable talking about it. And then when you think about your close personal, 80% of those women don't even want to talk about business and stuff to their families or investments. So it's like, what's the disconnect here? So it was very interesting going in knowing that there's like a confidence level and things that women, and it's like, why do women not want to talk about it? But is it because there's a product missing or is there a service missing? So what we found out was the most interesting thing was, I need to back up. I'm a horrible storyteller, believe it or not. The year before we did brand communication and studying for focus groups of should we change our name? And we had a diverse group of business owners. Most of them were men because of that. We just did a random sampling and asked business owners to come. Most of the respondents were males. We gave them, both research groups, the same product list and said, let us know which products you use. The men in the research before went down the list, marked the products they used, and they're like, oh yeah, I use this here, here, and here. In our focus groups with all the women, they were like, I don't even know what these are, and just handed it back. So there's a knowledge gap. So there's that hits to that core of that confidence issue is like, women don't have that knowledge. And when you do more research, like women have a lower financial knowledge gap. We're at about 46% as to where men are 58% in finance proficiency. So there's that intimidation or that confidence issue that women have with money. So I thought it was really interesting that of all of these things, women were like, I don't even know what this is. But when you start having conversations deeper of, well, tell me about your banking. What does your bank, what do you wish your bank would do? And they would describe, well, I wish my bank would let me deposit my business stuff, remotely or online, because going into a branch is so far away, or it's just such a hassle to do it during banking hours. And some of these women were banking with big banks, like a Capital One or Regions. And it's like, you have those tools. You just haven't asked for it. You haven't spoken up about it. And it was just so interesting that it's not the tools that's missing. It's the knowledge gap and the relationship building that's missing with women in business and finance. It's the products aren't it. It's how we give women that confidence to learn about it and ask those questions and build those relationships that's missing, that I found was just really, really interesting.
So is it from a personal finance or like a business finance sort of range? Where is this coming from, or is it both?
So it's interesting. So we looked at business. When we look at the secondary research, women make 90% of the decisions with household finances.
Yeah, that's why I'm okay. Yeah.
We're 85% proficient in all of the financial jargon related to everyday financial management. Women control 14 billion in spending in this 14 trillion in spending in this economy. But when you take it up a level to talk about finances and business banking, that competency level and that comfortability falls from, in the upper 80s down to the low 40s, to the mid to low 40s.
Personal finance to business finance, that gap.
Business and investments. There's a gap. There's a gap. So that's based on secondary research. Like I said, our first primary research was just focused on business women and those interviews. So it was all qualitative, no quantitative. So, but it's very interesting that we have that confidence to make those decisions about mortgage and budgeting and bills. But it comes to investments or how we want to run our business and make those decisions, there's a confidence and a knowledge gap, and it's really hindering.
Yeah.
So it's there's a lot to be done. And
so what did the bank do with this information? That's a big deal. And it's obvious not a lot of banks are focused on women clients and women investors. So it's easier to keep doing things the old way. So what's the plan? What are you using this information for?
Right. So and like I said, so it's not a product, which is great. And we looked at what a lot of other banks are doing, and some banks are trying to do like a networking type thing and other things. And really, when you look at it, they're just putting a purple label and a group on something and not really providing substance. They're like, oh, well, you're now a member of this and you can get a discount here, or you can help this. But Dima and I have had this conversation before. Like, nothing is worse than going to a conference about giving women information and empowering them and handing them a pink nail file. Like, that's not why I'm here. That's what it is. We've had this conversation.
It happens. Rob, you may think, oh, most like it happens.
It happens.
Yes. And so a financial institution that does that. There's a financial institution, not mentioning names.
Not b1Bank.
Not b1Bank. No, not b1Bank. And the event was in New Orleans. And there was another event and they had a booth and they were promoting their focus on women and women investing, and some of their giveaways where, what is it called? The thing that
nail files. Yeah.
Yes.
The nail file, the emery board thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it almost takes it and makes it feel like it's not applicable, or like how to approach yourself to approach. And I mean, these are women running really successful companies and just need a step up. So they don't need to be talked down to or brought something down to them. But women need to be educated and reached on their level. So we've actually partnered with a lot of organizations in our communities. We focus with Junior League, and we've sponsored a lot of events, and we've given a lot of talks, and we pair those up with our female bankers that are in those markets, because there's also that, well, I don't want to talk to a man sometimes, because that's intimidating, because men, we know, already have that financial level, and men are also comfortable talking about money investments with each other. I mean, men are competitive. Investing and everything else is just another form of sport for men, as to where women approach it differently. So you come in with this intimidation of like, here's this guy and he's going to want to beat me or win. And, so there's a whole other approach to it. So we try to focus with having our female bankers, but not just necessarily talking about our products and what things are, because there's so much information coming at us, and we can research that if we want to. But it comes back to building a relationship with your banker. Go in and talk to your banker. Tell your banker how you want to bank. Like, that was one of the best nuggets I got from one of our female commercial bankers that runs one of our banking centers. It's just like, the first thing I say to my clients is, tell me about your business. Tell me how you want to bank. Because that right there is going to say, I know what products to tell you about and what products are going to help you exceed at what you want to do. So you don't even have to have that knowledge base, but you have to be comfortable talking to people about your goals, about your finances, about what you want to do and how you want to do it. You don't need to know the names, because every bank's got a different name or different product for something, but tell them how you want to bank, build that relationship. I mean, every woman that you look at that's successful, I've been following Misty Copeland a lot lately, and she's a ballerina, but she's also an entrepreneur and a business person. And she's like, surround yourself with the experts. You're not going to know everything. It's okay to ask questions. And it's exactly like this in the business world. So our approach is to start laying that foundation and getting women comfortable about talking and using their voice to say, this is how I want to do it. I need you to help me do it, and not have that fear of needing to know it all or looking like you're not capable or competent in what you do, because that's not it. It's just a learning curve.
Wow, love it. I've been following her too after the junior league. Yeah. Her posts are amazing on LinkedIn. Not LinkedIn, on Instagram.
Yeah. But she's really a great. I love her message. Is really a great advocate for surrounding yourself with the best people, and that goes for your business and financing too. It's like, if you don't know those answers, I was really surprised. Wish my bank had this, and it's like, why didn't you tell your banker this? Or some of them will be like, oh, well, my banker doesn't tell me about their products. Well, get a different banker. You can make that decision. It's okay. You can say, this relationship isn't working. I don't feel like you're serving my needs. I either want to move to another bank, or can I work with another banker here? You don't have to stick with one person. You're not married to them.
What were the focus groups done pre, pandemic or?
They were pre-pandemic.
Okay. Because I wonder if some of those numbers maybe changed, and with the confidence level of that low going into something that critical, right. I wonder. I'm hoping there was some role reversals there, where the numbers could have maybe changed a bit, because a lot of those businesses, female businesses, need to stay alive just like any other. And if they didn't have the confidence level to go ask, I wonder how maybe that fared in like the SBA and the PPP funding, the EIDL. Like, I wonder what kind of numbers we'll get after that.
Right, and that's an excellent point. And we're still in it. The data is still coming out.
Yeah.
But it would be really great to see. But we did have some, we have some clients, some female clients that actually experienced growth during this time. And they picked up the phone and called their banker, and they're like, look, I need a loan, or I need you to set me up with PPP, and I need this and that. And a community bank and b1Bank style is all about relationships. So these women that I know of that are our clients were able to pick up a phone, talk to a banker, express their desires because they've built that relationship, and don't have those hindrances of, am I going to be thought of as lesser because I'm either requesting this assistance or I'm asking for direction. Because that's why your bank's there, is to help you flourish, and you have to ask those questions. You're not expected to know it all. You're not a banker. I'm not a banker. I go to them and ask for help.
I think for a lot, including myself, it's difficult to figure out where to start. Like, okay, you meet with a banker. Where do you start? What questions do you ask? It is overwhelming.
Right. It absolutely is overwhelming. But going in and just saying, you know what, I have a business, and this is where my business currently is. This is where I want to be. How do I get there? Have those discussions. Or you could come and say, you know what, I'm looking to start my own business, and what do I need to do to become bankable? And that's another thing, is people want to start a business, but you need to have certain things in place to have business accounts, to get a business loan. So go in and ask a banker. That they're going to be more than happy to give you the information you need to succeed and to do that. It's not a shameful process. It's not embarrassment. It's educating yourself and using those experts to do it. So there is not really a one size fits all on what do I need to do and how do I do it, but just go in and say, how do I do it for my needs, and approach it that way, because you are different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I like that you said that we were all kind of a little bit the same, especially in the entrepreneurial world. We all have problems. We're typically all figuring it out at the same time. Yeah. It's refreshing to know that others have similar struggles. So what are some of the struggles that I guess you hear specifically from females, from women, when they're trying to get a business loan, or when their cash flow needs some help, that maybe they have extended themselves out, but they need the money now. It's all been expensed, or it's all been used on a project. What are some of the struggles that you typically hear?
Well, so I don't hear a lot of them because I'm in marketing. So, and our focus group didn't have this, but we actually just did some client testimonial photos, and we have a female client. And I'm not going to use her name because I didn't get permission before this time, but she actually was in a situation where she was in the middle of building another site, and the pandemic hit. Luckily for her, her business is not just recession proof, it's pandemic proof, because there was still a need for her business. But she had hit a wall, with another bank, and was like, I couldn't get funded. I was halfway through this build. I couldn't do this. And so she just started reaching out to, hey, who do you know? What do I do? And somebody recommended one of our bankers at b1Bank. And she called and said, okay, here's my situation. What do I do? And we were able to work with her and help her meet her goals. So my advice is always just keep knocking on those doors. Somebody is going to give you the answer and the information that you need. It doesn't mean that you're always going to get the answer you want, but they're going to tell you how to get there. If it's a no, it's not a no, it's a not right now. This is what you need to do to get there. Or, it's those steps that you need. Don't be discouraged by it. But if you don't like what one person's telling you, go to another one. Find that direction and that help to succeed in your next steps. So that's just from a client.
So let me ask you this, Misty. Did you know you were going to be in banking? I know. Did you sort of have a feeling? Did this just kind of, what's your path? What's your path to this world?
So if you want to hear something funny, is my first major in college was nursing.
Wow.
And then I gave blood and passed out. So we changed.
And your favorite color is red. Who would have thought?
I know. It didn't work out. So
obviously.
Right, obviously. Actually I was, and then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna be an accountant. I'm good with numbers. I can do this.
Data.
So I had to take, an elective, and I took a marketing elective, and the professor, I wrote a case study, and she's like, you're a really good writer. You would really be good at this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, I really like this. And so I got my undergrad, and my ultimate career goal at that time was to be PR for NASCAR.
Wow.
And do all of those events. So I wound up at an ad agency, working with Toyota across 5-state territory, and got into the auto industry. So I've always been drawn to male-dominated businesses or industries. So I worked with car dealers for a long time. And then I did a little stint at a credit union, and then I went back into the agency world and had some finance clients. And then I decided I was ready to go into, the other side and be on the other side of the marketing, because when you're in an agency, you only get to see so much of the pie. I wanted to see how all the pieces fit together and see how that success was. And because in the auto industry, I had lead generation, and ROI experience. And then I had the finance experience and all the branding, and it came into banking and the community banking, and I really enjoy it. I think you just have to be open to the paths that are put in front of you and what those next steps are. But I get a lot more out of it knowing that we're at a bank that really thrives on seeing people succeed and customizing those solutions for people. And our culture is great. So you just kind of wind up there, I guess. Mm-hmm. Wow. But the short answer is no, because I'm actually one of those women who talking about money is uncomfortable for me. It really is. But I do it. I'm learning to do it. I get uncomfortable and we talk about it.
Yeah. You've never imagined that one day you will be on the New York Stock Exchange as the bell.
Yes, we did. We got to do that.
Exchange.
We did.
That was b1Bank Public.
When we went public, yes, we went public in 2019. And so we did the opening bell, and that was a lot of fun. And then we had the media stuff behind that. And so working with all the media on national level was really fun for me. So yeah, just a lot of blessings and a lot of surprises being in banking and the finance world. But it's all tied together. It really has.
When you were in nursing initially and fainting after drawing blood, did you ever imagine you will be on the whole other side?
No. I mean, just to be, in the finance and the banking world, I never would have thought about it or being a marketing director, not at all. But it's just, sometimes it just takes somebody giving you a little push in another direction, just pointing out something that you're really good at. Because I was just like, what stability? What is this? Just roll the dice and go with something that you really enjoy. And I like it. I like in marketing is you are the magic behind the curtain, as I always say. Like I don't want to be here I am in front of the camera, but I like being the magic behind the curtain. Like, let's make the people shine. Let's make the brand shine. Let's make other people shine. How do we do that?
I love that. I never heard of it before. I like magic in front of the curtain.
It's actually from Wizard of Oz, like at the very end where they find the wizard and then he's like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Like, pay no attention to what I'm doing back there. Yeah, I like to be the magic behind the curtain. So
what about
magic with Drew Brees coming on with the board of directors?
We actually had a production shoot with him a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. So we got some new branding coming out around him. And his role. And Drew is a really great entrepreneur. I don't think a lot of people equate to him with that, but he is a huge entrepreneur and has his hands in several different things. So it's an excellent fit for the board from his perspective of not only being an entrepreneur, but a philanthropist as well with Breeze Foundation. We have B1 Foundation, B1 Community, and it's a really good fit. I mean, he helps with the brand recognition with his name, but his perspective and his knowledge it is a good fit for the bank and for our board for sure. But it does have the cool factor to it too,
Oh yeah.
Wow. Rob, what about you? Are you a magic in front of the curtain or behind the curtain?
If I had my pick, I would be behind.
Oh, wow.
A lot of times I'm the most boisterous, or people assume the most confident, so they put me in front. But I actually enjoyed a lot of, for video production stuff. I enjoyed the editing, the production part, like the strategy. I really enjoyed filming it. But I always wanted to do I either wanted to direct or produce music videos, or I wanted to be pretty much the director of the broadcast for newscasts. And I wound up switching entirely, and now I kind of take the back seat. Sometimes I'm driving on the technology side, so I'm doing a little bit of both. I enjoy a little bit of both, but if I had my pick, I'd be on the back side.
Yeah.
The front part can get tiring.
So the back part.
It can get exhausting being, the talent on screen instead of being the supporting cast and production team behind the camera. And I really enjoy both, though. Dima, what about you? Did you say the front?
Yeah. I don't like.
You kill it, though. You kill it. You rock it.
She does well with it. Yes.
Yeah, I don't like to be behind the curtain. I need a team to be there so I can be at the front. This sounds so horrible.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because you need both people. But yeah, I just like being that part of the storytelling, like telling, being part of that direction of how the story gets told, but enabling somebody else to do it.
Yeah. As you're talking about the storytelling, I remembered a conversation we had about the logo of b1Bank and the thought that went behind it, and even like the curve of the B and So tell us, I'm sure a lot of our viewers, they did not even hear about it. So what is the story behind the logo?
So the story behind the logo, and we get a lot of mixed up with a lot of different things, but the brand was redesigned in 2016. So even before I came on board we were Business First Bank, and they did a rebrand with the B. The B is a modern B. It's got some foreshadowing and depth to it, which you don't see in a lot of different brands. You usually see a flat, stagnant brand, but we have some shadow on our B. So it speaks more to the technology, to the new edge, to the newness of the B. And then our bright orange, you don't see these colors a lot in banking. So we stand out a lot, but the French blue and the orange. But we did rebrand December 1st of 2019 to b1Bank because we are more consumer focused now. As we've grown, we've become more of a 50-50 split of consumers. We still are, core a business bank helping those entrepreneurs, but we have all of these other services for our personal clients. And to also be the bank that somebody can just go to and do one thing. They don't have to go, here's my commercial account at this bank, here's my personal account at the other bank. We service everything. So, and then the name b1Bank is also more approachable to those smaller businesses. When you say, oh, Business First Bank, some people were saying, I'm not big enough to bank there. I'm just a little person. I'm a one-man shop, or I have only 10 employees. I'm just really small, but that's who we help. So, So the B1 logo is, B1 is a nod to our business first, to our heritage. But
the curve of the B is supposed to be more like feminine. It gives a feeling of.
It does. It's more modern and more feminine, but it's definitely a more techie look for sure.
Yeah. It's never easy having a logo. Like Rob and I, we know with our Chit Chat, it took months. The Chit Chat. It's tough. I think that's the hardest thing, finding the business name and the branding around it. Because I know for myself, I want to get to work, but you can't get to work. You need to have all of that.
Right. And consistency is key. I think I say no a lot at the bank, and I'm known for saying no a lot because it's like, well, what if we do this? Or what if we do this? And I'm like, nope, that's not the brand. Nope, that's not how you use our logo. No, it's that consistency, that repetitiveness that builds that brand. Consistency is key. So stick with it. Don't change it.
That's good advice. And I have to admit, the exciting part about starting that next business or that next venture or project is, picking out the colors. What is the name? What's it going to look like? And all that brainstorming. Like everything is so new and fresh and raw. And then there's like a little bit of innovation that you're kind of like kickstarting, and I love when it all comes together. I love when it has a meaning behind it. And we search for these things. And I got to say, if I ever were to do something different, being marketing would be a natural fit for me. I think I would love it. But it's so exciting when it's brand new like that. It's so much fun.
It is. It's fun. It's exciting. It's adrenaline. And I think that's where people often get a little too excited because they're like, okay, great. We've launched this great thing. But then they forget that it gets old to you and like, okay, we need something new. We need to change it. It's like, no, stay consistent, stay that course. Like there have been so many studies, like people need 24 different touch points with your brand before it even registers with them now, because we're so inundated by all these media channels. So it can, like, it's exciting at first. And then you're like, oh, I want to change it because it's not exciting anymore. But it's like, no, drudge through it, stay the course. And it's going to be exciting again when you start that growth and that recognition. And
And there's some finesse in that consistency point that you made, because if you start changing it up using different colors or shaping it different sizes or letting the font encroach in. I mean, I think when I first even heard you two talking about it, you said something about brand standards. I didn't even know what that was until I went to a professional marketing agency. And then it blew my mind that you could measure things with the font and space things away and the visual part and keeping all these things. You said standards. I mean, you have expectations as a brand recognizable on the stock exchange. You have to have a little bit of thought going into the colors, the shape of the circle and the B and the, what color. I mean, you gotta think about all that.
Yes. It is a brand image. It's a brand message, that consistency. And then, how your people act and how your employees act and the stories that you tell and the clients that you help, that builds that brand image. And you have to be consistency, not just with the branding, but because that's what registers in a person's mind first is like, well, if it's a different color or if it's a different font, they're gonna say, oh, well, that's a different company. That's not the same company I worked with on this. This is somebody else. So having those brand identifiers that keep it consistent and identifiable, but then following through with those point touches with the people in front of the curtain, like Dima, to where they deliver on that brand promise. Like when you see that brand logo, what is that promise that you've made that stands behind it? It's not just the brand. The consistency of the look backs up that promise. But when you're changing that look around, it instantly confuses people.
And we were talking earlier about the employees and employees representing the brand in everything that they do, not just at work, but outside of work too.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm such a stickler for when you wear a branded shirt and where you wear it. I'm like, please don't do something wrong or embarrassing or something that's going to wind up on the news and you're in our branded shirt. Like, please don't do that. Because we're going to hear about it.
We were also talking, before you joined, Rob, we were talking about employees having tattoos, and a lot of especially the younger generation, they're saying, why can't I have tattoos? Why can't I show up to work in pink and purple hair? And as we were talking, they're representing the brand of the company. There's just like two mixed, I think, demands. We have the demand of keeping the company professional, depending on what they're doing. I guess in IT, it may be different, but at the same time, in their situation, they're demanding being their authentic self, being their self coming to work.
Yeah.
And it can be challenged in so many ways. And then, you've even spoken how some certain demographics and even personalities and profiles and generations like to express themselves, and then restraining that or maybe not having a culture where that isn't accepted. Those folks might just look other places for employment. I mean, it's that important to them.
Yeah.
But also important, like you said, to the brand of the business. We supply company polos or company shirts, and there's times when someone will walk through and, we're carrying heavy equipment. We do things, we're getting underneath desks and going in nasty, crazy closets where things get snagged. But when I see our logo and then a string coming off the embroidery, it's like, we gotta clip that, or we just need to buy you a new shirt. That shirt's going to be $35-$40. I'd rather that shirt look really good, and us demonstrate durability, us demonstrate professionalism, polished, but still be personable. So that little string hanging off says we're not worried about those things, and we won't pay attention to detail. But for me and for our culture and our company, it's important for your presence to be felt and to be seen.
Yeah.
Both before and after. So if your logo is looking jankety on your company team building t-shirt, and you're wearing that out drinking, I mean, maybe that's okay. But you also have to wonder, how does this represent my company, my employment, and the team that I work for? That's kind of important. You need to have that at least. If it's important at your company, then it should be forefront for you as well. Right. When you represent them.
Right. And that's up to each individual company and their brand to establish. Yep. So so much of it goes into building a brand. So much that, it's more than a logo and a color.
Yeah, it is. And that's why a lot of people, when they want to start branding their new company, they're automatically looking for the logo. What is the design? What is the color? It's so much more. It's truly understanding, what do you want? What is the value you're offering? How you're different? A lot. And then the logo can follow.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
And I had a funny question. Do you ever, those company polos, okay, we've long had to talk about this. Do they get donated to Goodwill, or do you have to? Because, you might have a few folks walking around in b1Bank polos that don't work for b1Bank representing your company. We've gone back and forth because I'm like, give somebody a shirt, but then it's engineer your way into places. You could represent the company as places, so we wind up sticking a whole bunch of them in a big old trash bag in the attic, and they never go anywhere.
Why don't you guys wear them? Why don't you wear them?
Because old logo.
Old logos, yeah.
Old logos, yes. And when you do an old logo, all of it's got to go.
It's all gone. Everything.
Oh.
It's exciting to make the logo. It's really not exciting to remember that logo was in 73 places.
7,300, yeah, exactly. And you're going to stumble on it.
My email signature, dang.
Yeah. 3 years later, you're going to stumble across a pin or something hiding in somebody's desk. You're like, what is this doing here? Get another pin.
Yep. The old business cards.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's such a good question. I didn't think about it. That is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes.
What else you want to tell us, Misty? What else we've missed?
Well, I think we got off topic with branding, but that was great though, because that's what businesses need anyway. And you know what? I think women get excited in talking about that and what their company means and what it stands for and stuff. So I think that's great. I think Rob really had a great idea earlier with how the pandemic is going to affect these entrepreneurial women, because we already know about 35% of women have left the workforce because of the pandemic, because they've had to take on additional duties at home, school and everything. So I'm really curious to see how this pandemic will affect female entrepreneurs, and but also give them opportunity to learn and grow and to build those relationships. To sometimes we all just need a little push outside of our comfort zone to be like, okay, let me ask those questions, because this is my chance to grow and to take advantage of the opportunities in this marketplace right now. And you got to ask the questions and be uncomfortable. So hopefully we'll see a lot more conversations and relationships built, and a lot more knowledge shared, and to help women in business succeed.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough bringing them back, because it were like millions. They were like a big number, right? I need to check.
I read like 34% of women left the workforce, and it doesn't necessarily mean business owners or anything, but that's women in key positions within businesses that left. That's going to have a huge impact, not just only on how businesses function, but you're losing a different perspective. You're losing you're losing a big skill asset. And then you're also having to deal with, now these women, women we already know are behind in, women live longer. We're behind in investments. Like 80% of the poor retirees are women. So how do we help these women get back into investing and get them comfortable to where they're like, hey, somebody tell me how to catch back up or get in the game. So now we're not seeing this, 30, 40 years down the road where we've got this whole group of retirees of women that, the pandemic really set them behind further than what we were to begin with.
With the pay gap too.
Yeah.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of getting it from all the angles there. And I do have to wonder, what that shift is going to look like. They might have exited the workforce from their traditional where they were before, but they could have probably learned new skills, been bold, started new companies. And maybe it was a temporary thing. I wonder what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
But I also have to think too that women are as resilient as you can get. It's just, you're going to make it happen. And I bet if they had to go to work or make ends meet, I just imagine that it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's home or not. But I feel like it's got to be an interesting shift and a change. I wonder where those numbers are going to lie. That's going to be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think
whatever ripple effects we have after this, like you mentioned.
Yeah. And I really hope we see, like you said, a lot of these women are learning the new skills or things at home, and starting their own businesses. And I go back to that LinkedIn post where a guy posted, like, if you haven't learned anything new in this pandemic or something, you didn't take advantage of the time. And I think that puts a lot of pressure on women that have had to leave the workforce or had to pull double duty. And I'm very fortunate and very blessed. I have an excellent support system, so I haven't felt. I mean, we've all felt pressure and we've all felt change, but some of the loads that some women are carrying now is tremendous. But they are learning new skills in this, whether women believe it or not. Like, even if you're homeschooling and you've gone from from the office to homeschooling to, there are new skills and opportunities there, and they're absolutely learning something. But it doesn't need to be pressurized to, you have to achieve something right now. You have to get out of, do this. I think there's opportunities, and they will, like you said, women are resilient. We're going to come out of it on top. So those women are going to come out with some great things. We just gotta.
We can say that all day long about women being resilient, but there's barriers to entry. So there's the stereotype, the biases, all of that. So yeah, of course they're gonna learn, they're gonna grow, they're gonna try, but the same issues that stopped women from entering the workforce before are still there. The same ones that affected women from advancing are still there, and they're even maybe now stronger too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think that's where some of those confidence issues play in, where women have a hard time discussing money and asking for help, is because those barriers are there. And if you come in and ask questions, that they feel like that might even elaborate those barriers or something. So, I mean, my stance is just keep knocking on those doors, keep, asking those questions. Don't be afraid, make yourself uncomfortable, build those relationships. There are bankers out there. There are financial people out there that will help you achieve those dreams. You're just going to have a different approach to things. Where Berkeley with Spanx, she had an idea that nobody else had, that she just did, and to how she had to go sell it to somebody. She literally told the woman, who wasn't understanding her, who wouldn't buy her idea, she's like, come with me to the bathroom, let me show you. We have to do it differently. And when she showed somebody, they were like, this is amazing. But you have to knock on a lot of those doors and let go a lot of that fear and that confidence, and build that confidence.
I believe companies, so the companies that lost all of these women, I believe it is part of their responsibility to stay in touch with them and to be intentional if there's opportunities that open up to bring them back. So it's not just the women taking the initiative and getting out of the comfort zone. I think there's a responsibility from these different organizations to ensure that to stay committed, whether it is overall for diversity, equity, and inclusion, but also to stay committed into ensuring that they're from bringing women in and promoting them, and to stay in touch with them, because they're eventually going to be ready to go back to the workplace.
Right. Oh, I agree. And and that's one other note that I had, because we talk about finance, and there's not a lot of women in that group, in that range, and that's why another thing that women are uncomfortable about, and how do we get more women into that realm? So I'd love to see more women coming into this realm as we come out of it. I'm kind of training my daughters to do that. It's like, come be in this world, come play in here and help other women succeed. And we'll see at our bank, we are very fortunate in that we were able to everybody work remotely. We've actually added people. We're adding some really incredible female bankers. We already have incredible banking staff full of female bankers that can help. So, but I'd love to see women step into those industries where it's very male dominated. I think that would be a great opportunity and do that.
Well, it was wonderful chit-chatting with you. There's you have so much great information that I believe everybody needs to hear, regardless of their genders. So thank you for chit-chatting with us. Thank you for all of
having me. Yes.
Yeah. And keep doing your research and come back and tell us more.
Oh, I would love to. Yes.
I like that. Thank you, Misty. It was great getting to know you.
Nice to meet you. Getting to know you. Well, I mean, I've known you, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Met you briefly.
It was still good chatting with you for an hour, though.
Yeah, it's been great to meet you.
Absolutely.
So I have a meeting tomorrow where I would stop by at Magpie and say hello. But
yes, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. We'll see you there.
All right. Y'all have fun.
Thank you, Misty.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.